morning, everybody. I hope you guys are doing well today. I just want to take a few moments to share something with you that I think could be very helpful and encouraging for you, because I know that it has been for me. And this morning, as I'm diving into God's Word and I'm meditating on what God is trying to communicate to us through His Word, I'm realizing that we are in a very unique season of life where a lot of changes are happening, right? The coronavirus is happening, and so the changes, we're not going to school, we're not meeting on Sunday nights for youth group, we're not meeting on Sunday mornings for church. Some of our parents are not going to work because work is closed. And so this changes, they can be hard to adjust to, and they can create a lot of emotions in us. Like we can feel stressed and anxious and frustrated, and that can make us feel down. And so today I just want to share something with you, that like I said, I think it's gonna serve us as an encouragement. And I want to read from Psalm 55, verse 1 and 2, and 4 and 5, real quick, where David is saying this: Give ear to my prayer, O God, and hide not yourself from my plea for mercy. Attend to me and answer me. I am restless in my complaint, and I moan. My heart is in anguish within me. The terrors of death have fallen upon me. Fear and trembling come upon me, and horror overwhelms me. I feel that. I can relate to that. And David here is showing a lot of emotions, and especially his fear. But for us, and I'm not just saying this for the coronavirus that is happening, but there's a lot of circumstances in our lives that can provoke that fear in us, and that horror, like changes and uncertainty. But I want to encourage you with this. I want us to look at how David reacted to these situations, of fear and doubt. Um, he says this: Behold, God is my helper. The Lord is the upholder of my life. He's recognizing who God is. He's reminding himself of who God is, and that's very important. And I think that's a very good starting point for us. We need to remind ourselves who God is. And David also tells us this. He shows he show us that God is faithful, and he's saying this: But I called to the Lord, and the Lord will save me. Um, and so here we can see the number one, David is reminding himself of who God is. And not only that, but he's also putting his trust in the fact that God is going to be the one who's going to save him. And for us, so then how do we respond to this? What do we do in light of this? I feel like we should react like David. We should remind ourselves of who God is. We should put our complete trust in God, because He is faithful to deliver us from our fears and anxieties, and our frustration and our stress. But I also want to share another verse with you, and this is in Galatians 2:20, and this is Paul saying this: I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ who lives in me. And the life I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself for me. And so for us, I want this to be the main takeaway for us today, that um, when life gets hard, when there's a lot of doubts and uncertainty and fear and anxiety and frustration or stress, when crisis hits, um, I want you to know that nothing else shines like the gospel of Jesus Christ, because Jesus Christ is the one who loved us and who gave himself for us. And so, as a practical thing, why don't you remind your parents about this wonderful truth? Or why don't you communicate this to your siblings or whoever you may be around? I know that our exposure to people is limited right now. But for those who are around you, why don't you remind each other of who God is, remind each other of what He's done, and encourage each other to place your trust in Jesus. And so that's all I have for you today. I really hope that you continue to have a wonderful day, and we will be in touch. See ya.